There is no such thing as a stupid question, only stupid people leaving stupid comments on YouTube videos. Today, I will be showing you the Retevis RB19P GMRS radio. The price for the RB19P is $55 for a set of two. Affiliate link below. $55 for a set of two means they cost less than $30 a piece. If you don't believe me, do the math yourself. Retevis did send me this set of two very sexy radios so that I could show them to you, my favorite viewer, and that is exactly what I'm going to do in a fair and balanced way. I will share with you a few things about this radio that sucks, and a few things about this radio that are very surprising. And as with all of my videos, I will keep this video short and to the point. I won't bore you to death, and I will not beg you to subscribe or click the like button, and I won't teach you what the bell means. I know that you already know what all those things are for, unlike all of those other YouTubers who apparently think you're an idiot. So when you purchase the Retevis RB19P, when you open the box, you will receive a user guide. It is very small and difficult to read if you're of the old folks persuasion, such as myself. It is written in poor Chinglish, but it does explain the features of the radio adequately. You will receive a AC adapter for charging your Retevis RB19P radio. You will see that it has two ends. This end plugs into the holes in your wall. This end plugs into the charging cable, which you will also receive. You then plug the other end of the cable into the radio, which has a USB-C type connector. And you will receive the Retevis RB19P radio. You will see right off that it is not a very large radio, measuring approximately 6 inches from the base by roughly 2 inches, just slightly more than 2 inches, by about 1/2 of an inch. This is a slim and sexy little radio. It comes with a 200 milliamp hour battery, which does not appear to be removable or replaceable. It does have pins for putting it into a charger, a charging cradle, but it does not come with a charging cradle. It comes with that adapter shown previously that you plug directly into the USB-C hole for charging. It has a push-to-talk button, and it has 3 very simple controls. Microphone hole is right there, and the speaker is here. It includes a belt clip for attaching to your belt and impressing the chicks. And it has a small, non-removable antenna. As I just mentioned, this antenna is not removable, and this will cause much confusion amongst the comment experts out there. So allow me to clarify a few things so that I don't have to go and delete a bunch of stupid comments. The non-removable antenna on this radio does not make this an FRS radio. This is a GMRS radio. Even though it has a non-removable antenna, that does not mean it is a FRS radio, as many experts have declared on my previous videos and all over YouTube and all over the interweb. The difference between a GMRS radio and an FRS radio, amongst other things, one that the experts tend to get wrong most often, is that on an FRS radio, the antenna must be non-removable. An FRS radio cannot have a removable antenna. A GMRS radio may have a removable antenna. It does not have to have a removable antenna. So this is a GMRS radio that has a non-removable antenna. And as long as we're talking about the comment experts, as I just mentioned, this is a GMRS radio. And even if you transmit only on FRS channels, even if you lower the power level, which you can't do, but even if you were to lower the power levels, and even if you read comments on YouTube videos saying that you don't need a license, if you do those things, this is still a GMRS radio. And according to the FCC, if you want to push this button, the FCC says you must have a GMRS license. The radio has a power output of 3 watts, but this radio is not about power or output or range. This radio is about a new parameter. And based on most of the radio dorks that I know, and many of the experts online, most of them have never heard of this new parameter. Or if they have, they get it way wrong. And that new parameter is style. Style. Watch this. If your girlfriend or wife is watching, ask her to look away for just a moment. Do you see how stylish and sexy this radio makes me look? Okay, it's safe for your lady to start watching again. The selling point of this radio is that it is sleek and stylish, not big and ugly and dorky looking like most other GMRS or FRS radios. In Retevis, it does look stylish. Mission accomplished. So allow me to give you the tour around the Retevis RB19P GMRS radio. Oh, almost forgot. I almost always forget. Got to do this first. It comes in a set of 2, so I can do that again so that you can hear it this time. It is a very simple radio. To turn it on, you press the power button, thusly.
Power on.
One thing about the radio is that every time you turn it on, it comes on at full volume, which is very loud. So to turn the volume down, I just press the down arrow key. To turn it up and make it annoyingly loud, I just press the up arrow key. The center button is the menu button. As you can see, it's got a neat little, I don't know what you call that. It's, I suppose, LED, but it looks like an old dot matrix screen. You change through the channels after pressing the menu button once. It has a pleasant voice.
3, 4, 5, 6.
It does not have many options. One of the options that Retevis touts is Vox, VOX, which I don't care about. I didn't bother testing because I don't care. If you care about Vox or VOX, which is voice activated transmitting, then this radio might be for you. Most people probably won't care. It does not have any controls other than that. Really, that's about all you can adjust on the menu. It does include a belt clip for affixing to your belt and really looking stylish. All right, enough about the looks. Let's talk about what's on the inside. Because as we all know, it's not how you look that matters, it's what's on the inside that matters. At least that's what all the ugly girls say. This is a very basic and simple GMRS radio. It can also receive NOAA channels. It comes with CTCSS tones or codes pre-programmed on every channel. And you cannot change or remove those tones and codes on the radio. The only way to do that is to hook it up to your computer, get the software, and use the software to remove the tones from the radio. This means that out of the box, you can talk to each other using these 2 radios with no problem. It's not an issue. But if you want to talk to another GMRS or FRS radio, pretty much any other radio in the world, they will hear you just fine. You won't hear what they say unless you either remove the tones from your radio or tell the other person to put the tones onto their radio. This is not a mistake. Retevis doesn't try to hide it. They actually mention it. They tell you in the user manual, which most people will never read, but they do tell you right in the user manual that the tones are there. They tell you what tones are there. So it's almost as though they're proud of this feature of having the radio pre-programmed with tones, preventing you from hearing any other radio. Allow me to take a moment to speak directly to my friends at Retevis. Retevis, this part of the video is for you. Please gather the person who is responsible for deciding that radios should have CTCSS tones pre-programmed on them. Gather that person or that team that came up with this brilliant marketing strategy and bring them in. Sit them down, tell them to shut up and watch. My friends at Retevis, pre-programming a radio with CTCSS tones is stupid, especially on a radio that won't allow you to remove those tones directly on the radio itself. A lot of people will not buy this radio because it comes pre-programmed with tones and because now they have to hook it up to a computer to get those tones out. More people will buy it and then return it when they realize it can't be used to talk to other radios without changing the programming, which many people aren't going to want to hassle with. Why, Retevis? Why? You are losing sales that I'm handing to you on a golden platter, and you're throwing them away because this thing comes pre-programmed with CTCSS tones. Oh, and one other minor detail that I did not yet mention, the cable that comes with the radio for charging can only be used for charging the radio. You cannot use this cable to program the radio. You have to purchase a different cable, which is not even available yet in the United States. Retevis, you just lost about 90% of the sales that you almost had. Now there is an upside of this. I like to think of myself as an optimist. I like to say that the toilet is not half empty. The toilet is half full of shit. So the upside is you can get these radios and hand them to your kids. They can talk to each other just fine because both radios come pre-programmed with the same tones. They will talk to each other just fine, and they won't hear all of the GMRS perverts that are out there. They can't hear any other radios, so they will only hear themselves. If you go adventuring somewhere, you won't be bothered by hearing all those other people talking. It's not private because they can hear you, but you won't be bothered by them. And that's good unless you want to hear or talk to other people, but you will look stylish. The radio is wideband capable. It is a wideband radio, but by default, out of the box, all the channels are preset to narrowband. Again, not a problem if you're just talking between two radios, but if you want to talk to another regular GMRS radio, pretty much any other GMRS radio in the world, except for Midland, those are all going to be at wideband, so there will be some issues talking with the narrowband radios. You can talk to them, but there will be issues. And to change it, you need the cable and the software. Retevis, you just lost a few more sales. Now, one thing that you may not expect from a stylish little radio like this, a radio that some people might call a toy, it is repeater capable, and it does do split tones, but you can't program any of that from the radio itself. You need the cable, you need the software. Retevis, did you hear that sound? That was the sound of you just losing more sales. You cannot program multiple repeaters on the same frequency. Not really a surprise for this type of radio that's common on many of the lesser expensive radios. That means, for example, in my area, I have 3 repeaters on channel 21, repeater channel 21. I can only choose to use one of them at a time without having to reprogram the different repeater in. Many other radios would allow you to create multiple channels for each one of those different repeaters using different tones. If you're a radio dork, that's probably important to you. If you're not a radio dork, if you're just a normal person, you may not care. Now, the big question is, how many FARs does it talkings? In my worst case range test, that's through houses and some hills, many trees, and very many fat people sitting in their houses. I got about 1/4 of a mile between this radio and the other radio, which is about to be expected. Now, for a best case test, optimal conditions, I'm going to call my friend Chris, who we all know is the real star of this channel. The chicks love him. The men want to be him. He is about 10 miles away, almost direct line of sight from me. The signal will have to go through several walls of my house and a few trees, but from there, because I am at a higher elevation than he is at a lower elevation, we have almost perfect line of sight. He's 10 miles away. He's on his base radio, which means he's got a big antenna on the roof. So let's see if he can hear me. 530 Chris, do you copy?
Yes, sir, I copy. This is 530 Chris. How are you, 924?
You're coming in actually loud and clear here. Please say hello to all of your adoring fans and let them know how I sound on this little Retevis RB19P radio.
Hello, gentlemen. Just to let you know, he sounds pretty good. A very slight little bit of static, but full modulation sounds really good.
10 miles. Optimal conditions. He's got a big antenna at his end. He probably wouldn't have heard me 10 miles away using another radio like this, but the radio works. It does talkings very many fars. As I mentioned, the radio is repeater capable, so let's see if it can hit my two favorite repeaters. I have one that is 30 miles away in that direction. I'm just going to kerchunk the repeater, which means I'm going to press the button and I'm going to wait to see if we can hear that kickback from the repeater. Now, some people will no doubt leave comments about how terrible it is to do that and how I'm going to burn in hell and the FCC are going to come in. Let's see if I can hit that repeater 30 miles away. "30 miles away. I'm able to hit that repeater. Now let's try my other favorite repeater, 69 miles away. That is the actual distance. It is 69.2 or 69.3 miles away. Why would I make up a number like that? I'm going to very impolitely or very rudely kerchunk the repeater. I'm willing to take that risk for you. And if I'm able to hit the repeater, we'll hear that same kickback, squelch tail, whatever. You'll hear the noise on the radio. Here we go. 69 miles. 69 miles away on a repeater. Not bad for a little 3-watt radio that some people would call just a cheap Chinese toy. So because I'm able to hit those repeaters 30 miles away, 69 miles away, I could use one of these radios to talk to somebody through a repeater hundreds of miles away and look stylish while I'm doing it. So should you buy a set of the Retevis RB19P radios? If you want to look stylish and impress the chicks, then yeah, this is the best looking radio I've seen. And as I've mentioned multiple times now, if you're just using the two radios to talk to each other, they're perfect. They'll do the job just fine. The only issue is really if you want to talk to someone using a different brand radio, or if you want to use a repeater, then you need to get the cable and the software and program it yourself to do those things, which may or may not be an issue for you, but it is my job to make you aware of these things. That's why you're watching this video. Otherwise, this is a decent, stylish, good-looking radio that can talk just as many fars as many bigger, bulkier, uglier radios. So this radio might just be for you.